Another week of the 2024-2025 NFL season in the books. Probably the most predictable week that we will see of the entire season, just within the podcast here. Jake and I did very well in our picks. Those who wrote in did very, very well in their picks. So I don't suspect we'll see this kind of success going forward, but it feels good to just kind of be watching the games during the Sunday slate and just being like, yeah, like I kind of expected that. Like, yeah, whatever, I got it. And then you could just kind of really hone in on everyone's fantasy performance instead of being so absolutely erratic and trying to like plug holes in a boat. That's how I always feel when I'm like, how is this team losing? How is this team winning? It's how I
hmm
always feel. So it was not like that Sunday.
Yeah, for sure, bro. I mean, I think this is the first time where, or I guess we've never gone higher than two wrong. Like I don't think we've ever gone like 15 and 1 or 13 and 1. Like I think two losses is I guess the least amount of losses that
Yeah,
we've ever had
I
before.
think so.
So that ties the record here. I think you had a 14 and 2 week last year, which
That
was
sounds about right. Yeah.
incredibly surgical. I kind of remember it because I think it was like you had picked like the Cardinals, but you had said like, "Oh, I was gonna change it last minute," and then I just decided not to. But like, it was like you should have gone
Yeah.
15 and 1.
I felt
Um,
good. Yeah, I definitely, yeah, there was one game where I got completely wrong, but I think,
yeah.
yeah, one of them was like that.
hmm Yeah, but definitely a very predictable week. I don't expect to see that again. Yeah, just very few upsets this week, but makes for some good betting uh situations for sure.
Yeah, I did pretty well on my NFL bets this week, college football, not so much. But we're just going to gloss over the recap from last week and kind of launch right on into our week 7 picks. Look forward to the future here. But like I said, if we want to recap these best bets here, I got almost all my NFL bets correct except for three of
hmm
them. But college football was not so good. I think I came out 12 and 10 if I counted correctly.
Yeah, very solid week there. I was unfortunately 1 and 2 this week. My NFL bets were not quite as surgical. Was believing in Washington to cover the 6.5 point spread, and of course they lose
Almost.
by 7.
It's a dangerous
So
spread, dude. I
I
usually like
know.
would bite that up to 7.5, but I
Yeah,
was so stupid. I literally like actually placed that bet, but I bought
really.
New England up to 7.5. I don't know why I didn't do it for the Commanders. I was
Mhm.
very upset about it.
Dude, I'm sorry I led you the wrong way. I should have tossed the
No,
extra
no.
points
Six and
there.
a half, 2.5. Those are
Yeah,
dangerous numbers if you're
that's
on the
true.
underdog side of things.
That's true. Yeah, even if I just bumped it up to 7, I'd get my coin back. But yeah, the over in that game did hit, just barely. That one also just kind of very on
By
the
one
edge,
point, yeah.
but half a point. Yeah, it was
I think I had
20.
one of those as well. Oh no, there
Nice.
was another one here. I feel like
Oh,
yeah,
you had
Buffalo,
Washington plus 6.5. Yeah.
yeah, but Buffalo and the Jets went over. I don't know. I don't think I actually had that bet in here, but that bet went
hmm
over by like 1 point.
Yeah. And then finally, the Chargers and Denver, I said under 35.5. This is the one we had the conflicting bet
Yeah,
on. You had the over, and it went over by like 2.5 points here, or 3.5 points
yeah. I think it was
rather.
like 23-16. So
Yeah, exactly. But good call on that one, dude. You
yeah,
got
some
me.
of those lines they just were too low for me, and yeah, both of the overs on those 35, 36 and a halfers hit. So it felt good. Felt good.
Yeah, yeah, definitely should, bro. I mean, you were like 7 and 3 on the NFL bets this week, so you made a lot of units.
Yeah,
Actually, eight and 3.
I
There
needed
you
it
go.
after the bad performance on Saturday.
Yeah, but law of averages kicking in,
Exactly. I
bro.
always say it. All right. But, anyways, moving on to our week 7 picks and predictions, starting with Thursday Night Football. Denver at New Orleans. Sean Payton going back, facing his old team in the Saints. I
Mm,
got to roll with Denver here, just maybe for that reason. Maybe that's the biggest factor in my mind. You obviously have Spencer Rattler starting. He looked okay, not great. I mean, as a rookie quarterback, he came out like the 5th round. So you really
hmm
shouldn't have too high of expectations for him. I do think the Denver defense is going to frazzle him, as we've said, frazzle, rattle, Rattler. I mean, the Bucks defense probably not as good as Denver's. Actually, we know it's not as good as Denver's they faced. And so I think that Spencer Rattler will have a tough time despite it being at home.
That's fair. I'm still going to be taking New Orleans here. Spencer Rattler, yeah, he had two picks, but I still think that he's got a good chance like to perform well here. He was just feeling the nerves from his first game in the NFL. He was just a little flustered by that. And I think that now he's going to get more comfortable against a team that's, in my opinion, not quite as good. Tampa Bay, I think, is much more solid than Denver. And Denver's offense is kind of a joke. So I don't think that he's going to have to be constantly worrying about, hey, we need to put up 51 points to try and beat, this
Hmm.
team because Denver's not going to put up that many points. So even if he could put up the 27-point performance like he did last week, I feel like that would be enough to win this game.
I do think 27 points would get you the dub in this game, but I've liked the way Bo Nix have been playing and that revenge
That's
factor.
true.
Although I'm sure Sean Payton doesn't really have bad feelings toward New Orleans, but it'll definitely
Yeah.
feel good to beat his old team.
You've definitely lost your glimmer of hope in the Saints at this point,
Yeah,
it
I mean,
seems.
Derek Carr is out. It's tough. There was that game. Like, I feel like they could have easily beaten the Eagles. We know how that game went. I mean, they had the Falcons cooked. The Falcons needed like a field goal to win it. It was like a 58 yarder with like a walk off 58 yarder to win that game, right?
Hmm.
So it's just like you lose those two when Carr is the starter. Obviously, the Chiefs come in, then he gets hurt. They keep that game close till he's gone. And now the season's just kind of shot. So, yeah, obviously my prediction was looking good. No, not
Hmm.
so much, but I really think if Derek Carr was healthy, hey, maybe Devontae Adams decides to go there instead of the Jets, and we're having a different
Hmm.
conversation. But yeah, no, I'm gonna buy into the Falcons here. I don't think the Bucks will be able to. I mean, especially already losing one of the head-to-heads, I think that they will maybe make the
Right.
playoffs, but not win the division.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I like your Falcons prediction now because
Yeah,
that's nice for the Parlizzle, but
yeah, I'm just
ultimately that's
very impressed with Kirk, and we'll get to the Falcons here
yeah.
soon, actually. But moving on, we have the London game, the Patriots at Jacksonville. So Jacksonville, technically the away team last week against the Bears in
Hmm.
London. Now they are the home team. We'll see if any of those Londonites come out and support the Jaguars. It was weird. It seems like there were a lot of Bears fans at that game. A lot of people traveled over there for the game.
Hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see where the crowd kind of resides here. But I am going to take the Jaguars. I think they really need this. I mean, they're pressed up against the wall. I think a lot of the, coach, for example, he's on the hot seat. Trevor Lawrence, a lot of questions about him. He's on the hot
Hmm.
seat. They're both kind of playing for their futures here. I think Trevor is obviously a little bit more cushion than the head coach does, Doug Peterson. But yeah, I'm on a roll with the Jags here. Patriots look better with Drake May, but they're still, hey, that's a new rookie quarterback coming over across the pond. Jags have been there now for a week and a half or so, so they're a little bit more used to it. I do think they pick up a win here.
Yeah, I like the pick. I'm also going to be taking the Jags here, but I mean, the Jags were a playoff caliber team. Like a year, I know they missed it last year on that little fluky touchdown incident, but like
Hmm.
the year before, I mean, they were a solid team, and now they're starting off year 1-5. Very dangerous situation to be in for, like you said, the coach and for Trevor. They've got to get this figured out. Like their playoff picture is pretty much already tarnished. It's basically just about like the future of the team at this point. This is the vintage Jaguars that we're seeing right now. They sucked when we were growing up, and they've just
Hmm.
got to get this turned around and figured out here. But they've got one of the easiest matchups of the year here, so we're gonna have to be rolling with Jacksonville. It would be tough for New England to get this win against a desperate Jacksonville team.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that. And yeah, I mean, it just would be weird for the Jaguars to go a year without winning a game in London, especially when they got
Yeah.
two this year back to back. But next up, we have one of the bigger matchups of the week, Detroit at Minnesota. I got to roll with the Vikings here. A couple reasons.
Hmm.
I like the Lions better. I think they'll probably end up winning the division in the long run, but the Vikings, hey, they coming off of a bye. Detroit coming off of a big win on the road. It's kind of hard to repeat that kind of performance when they were almost utterly perfect against the Cowboys. It's hard to replicate that week in, week out. I think they come back down to earth a little bit here. Of course, like I said, the Vikings, well rested, well prepared. I like them in this spot, and I like them to
Cool.
lose later on at the Lions. So this should be a good one. I'm excited to see some of these interdivision games within the NFC North here soon.
For sure. I don't know if you heard that noise there. Did it
What
like
was
make a
that?
huge bang? Yeah, it was
A little
my
bit.
I elbowed my water bottle off the
Oh
desk here.
no.
Yeah,
Dang.
sorry about that, everyone. But okay. Yes, I like your
Hmm.
Minnesota pick. This should be like the best, one of the best games on the slate here. I'm actually going to be taking the Lions. Um, it's just so hard for me to envision like the 6-0 Vikings team. Like I know that like they're up there. Like they
Yeah.
can make it happen. But I don't know, like putting that much confidence in Sam Darnold, like I want him to prove me wrong. Like prove me wrong. Like I want to see it. It just feels like this could be the game that he ends up ultimately losing against a really solid division rival team. They honestly, I mean, the Vikings do probably still have the edge since they're at home, but man, this is going to be one of the best games on the slate this week.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's hard to really gauge the Vikings. I mean, they played a more favorable schedule. They do have the Texans in there. They got an injured Jordan Love in Green Bay, and Detroit could be argued for one of the best teams, if not the best team in the league. So excited for this one. We'll definitely be watching while I'm at work, of course, which sucks, but it's
Of
fine.
course.
All right. Next up, Tennessee at Buffalo. It's got to be the Bills. It's got to be the Bills. Tennessee's on a downward trajectory here. Is it Will Levis? Is it Mason Rudolph? Both suck. Calvin Ridley's done nothing. Tony Pollard hasn't been that bad. The defense hasn't been that bad, but they are by far a bottom feeder in the league right now. With the Vikings being pretty good. I think head to head with the Patriots with Drake May now, they might lose that game. So, I mean, they're probably, yeah, they and the Panthers, probably the two worst teams in the league right now.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, Titans absolute dog water. Will Levis doesn't even reach 100 yards in the game. I mean, that's atrocious, bro. Like, what is
Yeah,
he
and they had
doing?
chances to win that game too.
Yeah, I mean, it was so close. Only a one score, just a field goal away here. I mean, just craziness that the Titans are just this bad this year. So, yeah, I'm also taking the Bills, although not loving where the Bills are at right now. They've got kind of a gift handed to them this week because they're definitely going to beat the Titans,
Yeah.
but they're looking kind of like on a rocky road these days, bro. It's not the
Hey,
Bills team that I really
they
anticipated
got
heading
Amari
into the
Cooper though,
season.
which is big. That's
They
big
got
though.
Cooper. They got Cooper now, yeah, and they needed another offensive weapon here, but they barely pulled off a win against the Jets, and
I
I
know
mean, the
I was
Jets
pretty
deserved
upset
to win
about
that
that.
game, bro. They had three chances, or what, two chances to get the
Well, they
field goal
they
that they
missed two
missed.
field goals, which was very upsetting to me as someone who picked the Jets. However, I will
Yeah.
say, devil's advocate, if they don't get the Hail Mary at the end of the first half, they're not really in it anyway. So it's like they got
Hmm.
lucky there and then missed a
Yeah.
couple easy field goals, which I can't believe Zerline misses those. But yeah, no, I mean, I think that's just a tough spot. Again, a division rivalry. As I said, they got their head
Yeah.
coach fired. They're all amped up now to get into New York and win that game. Let's remember they couldn't beat him last year with Zach Wilson. So it's a good win. I think the Bills are just fine, actually.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm still a little bit concerned about them, but yeah, hopefully the Amari addition
Yeah.
will be beneficial for their team. Could give another weapon here to Allen. But yeah, definitely taking the Bills over the Titans.
Oh yeah. All right, next up we have Miami at Indianapolis. A gross game here. I really hope Joe Flacco plays. I was very disappointed because I wanted to start him in
Hmm.
fantasy, but they didn't announce he was going to start really until the last minute. So I wasn't able to do that. It did actually work out in my favor though, because Drake May outscored him, who I played. So I guess I shouldn't be complaining. But as long as they play him, really should be an easy win here. Miami going on the road after a bye, that is, but I don't really think it matters. Tua is still not back. Anthony Richardson plays, though. I'm not so sure about that. Should be kind of an uglier, low scoring game, but Joe
Hmm.
Flacco will definitely tear up this Dolphins defense if given the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, you're totally right, bro. Flacco's going to be able to take care of business with the Dolphins. I can't even envision picking the Dolphins against like literally any team until Tua is back. They're
Yeah.
absolutely incompetent without him, bro. They can't do anything. I just I don't foresee them getting a win. Like even if it was against like New England, I honestly think I would take the Titans over the Dolphins right now, bro. Like that's how bad the Dolphins are without Tua.
I mean, the Titans did beat the Dolphins already, so that would be
Yeah.
a good pick. Yeah. All right, moving on here. Seattle at Atlanta. Kind of an interesting one, a little bird on bird action, as we like to call out. I'm gonna go with the Falcons. Don't love this pick. I think Seattle's kind of pressed up against a wall now. They just lost to the Niners, kind of got embarrassed at home. They had a couple extra days of rest. Obviously, Atlanta coming off some big wins. I feel like they might come back down to earth a little bit. So, if any pick on this list here, I would not bet on. I'm going to stay away from this game. Though, would not mind betting the over. Seattle's defense has been very bad, and
Hmm.
Atlanta's been known to give up some points too.
Yeah. Like the pick. I'm also going to be rolling with the Falcons here. I don't have a whole lot to say about this one. I don't know, dude. I've just been putting my faith in Kirk, and he's kind of been coming through for me. And I don't have as much confidence in Gino.
Yeah, no, I agree with that for sure. Gino, I mean, he always plays bad against the Niners, but yeah, it did
Yeah.
not look good in the first half.
It was his birthday last week, actually. He had all the incentive to play well, to
Mm.
really like go nuts, and he still couldn't pull together a victory, bro. So
Yeah, some
just,
tough birthdays for everyone in the NFL world. Jerry Jones, owner of the Cowboys, got
mhm.
absolutely pantsed in front of the whole school on Sunday by the Lions. So yeah, that was not
Yeah.
probably a worse birthday than even Gino could have had. But moving right along to maybe the best game in the slate here, Texans at Green Bay. This feels like I don't know. This gives me like Oregon at Ohio State vibes that we just, or other way around, Ohio State Oregon vibes that we just saw over the
Yeah.
weekend. Really excited about this one. I have to roll with Green Bay because they're at home. It's gonna be a little nippy, yeah, probably decent weather but a little colder. Texans not fully used to that. Green Bay, Jordan Love looking really good, getting healthy, throwing 4 touchdowns on the reg. I mean, I think he has the league tied lead for touchdown passes, and he still missed 2 games. It's really remarkable. Excited about what both of these teams are doing. I think both will, make the playoffs, do very well, but gotta roll with the Packers here because they're at home.
Yeah, I like the pick. This was definitely a really hard one to choose for me. I'm also taking the Packers here. Jordan Love has been spreading the ball around to so many different receivers, bro, and I feel like that's gonna Bommel the Texans defense a bit. Just Love's ability to just get it to everyone on his team. Little concerned for the Texans after losing Nico Collins. I
Yeah.
know they're still solid, but one of their biggest offensive weapons is now gone. They're gonna have to rely more on Diggs, and I don't know if he'll maybe have some, I don't know, a little self-interest in mind, get a little bit testy. I don't know if he's gonna just be a little salty about whatever locker room shenanigans are going on, and he might just not play whatever is going on in his head. He's just got to come to the game super locked in. So if he's not super locked in, then they're in for a rough game, could get taken care of by Green Bay.
Yeah, I think the loss in Nico Collins is super impactful here. And so that's another
Yeah.
reason why I would like to roll with the Packers. But here we have Cincinnati at Cleveland. Cleveland, it seems like they're almost in tank mode now, selling away Amari Cooper, Deshaun Watson, still yet to show any flashes, any sparks of what he was in Houston. Very, very disappointing. Cleveland could be in for a rough 5 to 6 years
Hmm.
here just because of how much money they shelled out to Deshaun, but they need to make a change. Whether they bring in a Ryan Tannehill this year, whatever it may be, they got to do it fast. But yeah, Cincinnati should be able to roll in and take care of business, especially, I mean, losing Amari Cooper, just a bad message to the locker room. I feel like some of these guys are going to start to give up here. And I would be shocked if the Browns won, but if they did, then you really got to panic on Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's head coach is gone if they lose this
Hmm.
game. Maybe not right away, but I think that would be a nail in the coffin. So this is a must win for the Bengals here, and a cupcake of a game here served up on a silver platter just when they need it.
Yeah, it would be downright embarrassing if the Bengals lost this one, bro. Definitely going to be rolling with them this week. I think, like I talked about earlier with Jacksonville, how it's like the Jacksonville of old, the team that always kind of sucked with us growing up. It's kind of like what the
Hmm.
Browns are right now as well.
Yeah.
I think the Browns went like 1-15 one year when we were growing up. Like they were always consistently bad, and that's what it feels like right now. It's like quite a fall from last year. They actually felt decent last year, one of the top defenses in
Joe
the league.
Flacco.
Yeah, I know. And yeah, I mean they did very well with him, and yeah, not the case at all this year. Watson, at least like his best stat across the board last week was his completion percentage, 16 for 23. Not terrible,
Whoa.
but what?
I mean, the fact that we're like praising a 16 for
Oh, I
23
know.
completion is just absolutely
I
absurd because
mean,
like that's not like that amazing or anything
I
like
know I'm
that.
not trying to like really praise it, but like across the board when he doesn't have any tuds and only 168 yards, like at least he wasn't like 9 for 30 like Josh Allen was the one week, you know?
Yeah, no, that's for sure. But see, the thing is, Josh Allen has all the flashes and has the
That's
big
true, yeah.
games, and Deshaun just hasn't really had any of those. He had one game where he had two passing touchdowns to Amari Cooper. Besides
Yeah.
that, though, I mean, he just hasn't had any game that I could be like, wow, this one looks like a Houston Texan Deshaun Watson game. It's crazy, like, because he was great all the way up into the end in
Yeah.
Houston. I don't care what anyone says. He was great, even when they went like 4-12 or whatever it was that year. He still played very,
Hmm.
very well.
Yeah, that guy's just gone now, man. But this is the new
Yeah.
reality that we live in. But yeah, they're not getting a win here against Cincinnati, even though they're the division rival. It's just not in the cards.
Yep. I totally agree. All right, Philadelphia at the Giants. I went back and forth with this one. Of course, last year Philadelphia lost to the Giants when it was at New York. I think they do it again here. I've not been impressed at all with what the Eagles have done. One of the bets that I don't think I put actually in the pod, but I took it was Cleveland +9. So even though they suck, they were able to
Hmm.
cover that 9-point spread pretty easily against the Eagles. I mean, the conversation we'd be having if they somehow blew that game, oh my God. Again, like I said, Nick Sirianni, Eagles head coach, he'd be gone. He might get fired midseason if that were to happen. And this is a game, it's on the road. Giants have been playing very well. They have a really good defense. I think they're able to put up a really good fight here and get one from the Eagles. If it was in Philadelphia, I would take the Eagles, but it's not.
Hmm. Yeah, I think the fact that this is in the Giants stadium definitely gives them the edge here. But I'm still gonna have to go with Philly. Giants have some issues with some of their talent being injured. Just a little concerned about that. Um, Daniel Jones has been playing better than last year, but he's still not a star, bro. And the talent on the Eagles is just night and day compared to the Giants. They've got AJ Brown, they've got Saquon, they've got Devontae, they've got all these guys that there's just not the star caliber on the Giants in the way that there is on the Eagles. They've got neighbors, but that's it. So I just feel more confident in betting on the Eagles here than I do with the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point to make. I do think Malik Neighbors is coming back. They're optimistic about his return from that concussion. So, yeah, I'm optimistic about their chances here. It will be an interesting one to track. All right, Vegas at the Rams, a game I don't intend on watching. Rams coming off of a bye here. I think they're going to be well prepared for a team that I had higher hopes for in the preseason. I think they're kind of falling off of a cliff there. Ever since Gardner Minshew threw that 100-yard fluky pick six against the Broncos, they've been going downhill. I mean, let's remember they beat the Ravens. Like they were not bad to start the year. Of course, they did lose to the Panthers, but we know, that was a tough one. Andy Dalton, first start, he was hungry for it, but now it's dark. And the Rams, they also need a win here. I mean, they're like 1-4, 1-5. So up against the wall, they need it more than the Vegas Raiders. I think they're already kind of sold on the year like the Browns. Quarterback problems, head coach problems. Devontae Adams is gone. Jacoby Myers was out last week. It's bad all around.
Yeah, dude, it's really piling up there for the Raiders. I'm glad that Devontae got out of there. It was just honestly shameful to see such a star receiver just withering away on a team like the Raiders, but he's back with his main guy in New York now. So hopefully good things to come for him there. But yeah, I'm going to be taking the Rams this week and might be just overly optimistic, but I think Cooper Kupp could be coming back this week. They've got some workouts scheduled for him. Might be too early this week, but there's still a chance that he plays on Sunday. And yeah, they're just due for a win at this point. It's one of their more favorable matchups. And if they could get their star receiver back in, I would definitely be taking them to win here over the Raiders.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine with or without Cooper Kupp. It's not a good spot for the Raiders, especially with the
Yeah.
Rams getting a bye there. Carolina at Washington should be an easy game for Washington to bounce back and win. Obviously, they played well against the Ravens, just not well enough. We do have to remember Lamar Jackson is undefeated except for one game against all NFC teams ever. Okay. So, he plays someone in the NFC. It's not in the AFC. If he goes over conference to conference, more than likely he's going to win that game. So I think the
Hmm.
Commanders are just fine. It just, it's the Lamar Jackson effect. And so I think they can get the Panthers here at home and then, big matchup against the Bears the following week, which will be very exciting.
Yeah, and I mean, and to your point, they still played well against the Ravens. Like it's not like they
Yeah. Oh,
got
yeah.
blown out. I
I
mean,
don't think they turn the
they
ball over at all, which is just, again, a crazy stat. They don't turn the ball over. Like that's their best attribute almost.
yeah, I don't think there were any fumbles and definitely no interceptions from Daniels, which is nice. It's just that accuracy that he's just got going on. It's just so elite. But yeah, Ravens kind of emerged back from their. What did they start off? Was it like 1-2,
They
right? Or
were
was it?
0-2 and now they've won four
Yeah, yeah.
straight.
Yeah, so good comeback on their end, but yeah, Washington is definitely the play over the Carolina Panthers. We already kind of touched on the fact that Carolina is looking like one of the worst teams in the league right now, so not too much don't have very high expectations for them in this game.
Yeah. All right, Kansas City at San Fran rematch of the Super Bowl. Why am I taking the Niners here?
That's the question,
It's
bro. That
just
is truly the question. Like, are
why
you
do they
betting against the
give the
Chiefs?
Chiefs this game after a bye? Like, I would feel so much better about taking the Niners if the Chiefs weren't coming off of a bye. Like, of course, the script makers, they designed the schedule so that the Chiefs would have the added advantage of coming off the bye. Now, San Fran, they have a couple extra days of rest after that Thursday night game, but I have to roll with the Niners here. It's at home. Super Bowl rematch, of course. They want revenge. Kansas City, they like life will catch up to them. They cannot continue to win in this, with Walmart receivers. I mean, Rashi Rice out. Hollywood Brown hasn't even played, I don't think, a single snap for them this year. And I don't think he will.
No,
It's
he's
going to be
he's done
tough.
so.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's going to be tough for them to continue to win these games the way that they're winning them. Mahomes has not been great. He's been turning the ball over at a very high clip. He didn't even have a touchdown in his last game against the Saints. You play him in
Hmm.
fantasy. I mean, that's
Yeah.
probably why. We needed you to get that win. So Mahomes made sure that he kept the ball out of the end zone. But I don't see it here for them. I think, they'll still win the division. They'll probably still win the Super Bowl, but I'm going to give the Niners one here. We know that the Chiefs are going to lose some games this year, and it's time for the Niners to finally get one because I'm pretty sure they've lost the last 3 or 4 matchups against the Chiefs.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It's just it's hard for me to put a lot of stock in a Niners team that's not looking quite as good as they did last year. Like if this game was last year, I feel like I would have picked the Niners in the regular season were they to be at home. But like I know they've been dealing with some injuries in San Fran, but so have the Chiefs, bro. They also lost Pacheco here too, and they're still managing to scrounge up 6 wins here or 5 wins, I guess, because they had their
Yeah,
bye. But yeah, I mean, I just feel a lot more confident in betting in what's basically the NFL's team these days than I do
yeah.
in putting stock in the 49ers here. Still a good matchup though.
Yeah, this is probably I mean, it is the best game on the slate, at least from a matchup perspective. So we'll be very interested to see how this one goes. And yeah, I'm gonna be just so bummed. It's just like, come on. The Chiefs are just getting so boring to watch because they just always win. And I know it's a
Yeah.
horrible thing to say, but it's true.
You
All
got to
right.
get off of work in time to watch this game, bro.
Unfortunately, I'll be working 11 this. Wait, this might be my 9 to 4 day. So it's gonna be, yeah, I think I should be able to watch most of this game if I work 9 to 4. Yeah.
That would be big time. Yeah.
That would be very big time. All right, Jets at Pittsburgh. I think I've picked the Jets like almost every week except for that first week, and they've lost like almost all these games.
Well,
I'm
it was
gonna
like
take them
me
here
picking
again,
them
though.
to go 15-2, bro. So like you're
Yo,
totally
I'm
chilling.
telling you, that still is not that crazy just because they very easily could have won some of these prior games. They very easily could have beat the Vikings. They could have easily beaten the Bills. I mean, the Vikings, Aaron Rodgers threw 3 picks, including a pick six. They only lost by like 6, 7 points in that game. So it's tough. But I think this is a great spot for them. Pittsburgh, they're talking about maybe starting Russell Wilson. Who knows? I think that could get a little ugly over there. The Jets will molest either. Whoa, are you switching your pick?
I'm switching my pick, bro.
Whoa. I mean, you got Devontae. We'll allow it because
Yeah,
Devontae just
yeah.
got traded.
Exactly. Yeah, I made the pick before Devontae got traded, and
Yeah.
I'm just now realizing that I think he's going to galvanize his team. Maybe he'll rip off like 138 yards, 2 tuds in his
That'd be
first
crazy
game,
for his game, but
for
I
his first
love
game
that
back with
he's
Rodgers,
back.
bro.
I love it because I mean they absolutely shredded teams back in Green Bay, and I would
I
just
know.
love to see the Jets just start shredding teams again, like some vintage Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers needs to grow his hair out again, and then we'll be good.
Yeah, no, dude, that would just be absolutely awesome. It's just it really is like great that he's finally back with his guy. Like I
Yeah,
feel like I keep saying it, but it was just so torturous that he was just wasting away his
yeah,
talents on the Raiders. I mean, they
I know.
didn't get him anywhere. And now he's got an enormous upside on the Jets. The biggest concern here is he's not going to know the playbook in really in time for the game. So it's just going to be a matter of whether or not he's got that connection with
Yeah.
Rodgers, which I think he definitely still
I
does.
think he does as well. I mean, it was incredible to watch him together. I feel like he was always open in Green Bay and it was annoying as a Bears fan. I didn't like him
Hmm.
when they were over there, but now, hey, I mean, you're on the Jets. Like, I got to root for
Yeah.
you. You're on the Jets now. Have at it. So we'll see,
Hmm.
but I really feel good about them this week. Then we have Baltimore at Tampa Bay. Like I said, Lamar Jackson's only lost once to a team not in his conference. I doubt this will be the second time. I think he's able to go into Tampa. I think this is, yeah, Monday night game. I think he's able to get a win here. Don't feel it like, I mean, Baker threw 4 touchdowns, but he also threw 3 picks. I think the offensive line at the Bucks needs a little help. I think the Ravens are
Hmm.
able to take advantage of it a little bit. Should be a good game, but like I said, I mean, I can't refute that stat where Lamar Jackson just goes basically unbeaten against the NFC.
Yeah, no, that's definitely, big piece that would sway me towards the Ravens here. I did end up putting down Tampa Bay just because I love the way that their offense has looked, even against those tougher teams. Throwing up 51 points is, I think, one of the highest totals so far this entire season. I don't
Yeah.
even know if there's any other teams that have eclipsed 50. I know the Saints had 47 one week. I don't know if they got into the 50s though. So yeah, huge week out of the Bucks. Hopefully, I'm not betting too much on this recency bias that the Bucks have been solid, but yeah, I think that this could be a really solid matchup for them. Prime time at home in Tampa Bay here.
Yeah. No, you very well could be right. I mean, eventually that stat will change. Eventually, Lamar
Yeah,
will lose more games to the NFC, but I don't know. This one just doesn't feel like one that he does. Then we have Chargers at Cardinals, kind of a weird game. God,
yeah.
I don't know. This is another one I don't feel good about picking. I'm going to take the Cardinals. Like I said, they are very hit or miss. They
Wishy-washy. Yeah,
fluctuate. Yeah, they vacillate. I think this is a week where they play better and get a win here. The Chargers offense still a lot of question marks. They have a really solid defense, but I think I'm gonna roll with the Cardinals here just because their offense a little more explosive. They're at home. And I think who'd they play? Oh yeah, they got trounced by Green Bay last week, but it's a
Yeah.
good bounce back spot for them at home. I don't think the Chargers are anything too impressive, but you know what? Oh my God, I want to almost switch it. Like as I'm listening to myself talk, I'm like, I don't know if that even sounds right. We'll roll with it, but I would not bet this game. I would maybe only touch the
Yeah.
over under, in which I would take the under in this game, as
Yeah,
I
no,
would with almost all Chargers games. But
you've got a good point, bro. Like even last week the Chargers did put up like some good points. Well, not great, but 23 points against a solid
I
Denver
mean, yeah,
defense.
their defense looks
Um,
good too, which is odd. I
yeah.
mean, it's unlike it for the Chargers to have a really strong defense
hmm
like that.
Yeah, we'll see if Arizona's offense can hang in there for this week. I'm gonna be taking them here. I'm just really hoping that they can have a bounce back week after a really tough loss. And we know that they've stayed competitive in games. They made it really close with the Bills and just in week one. They nearly
Yeah.
won that and they just blew it. If they can just put together four solid quarters of football, just string them all together consecutively rather than like two in one game and two in the next, I think they've got a real shot to win this game.
Yeah, man, this is such a tough one to pick. I really don't
Yeah.
feel great about it, but I do like the under actually, which we will get to here now, I guess. Yeah, it's almost time for our best bets.
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right, I have an absolute boatload. I'm sorry. There's a lot
28
that I
best bets
like.
this week.
I just added
All
another
right.
one.
Oh, yeah,
There's a
dude.
lot that I like. Okay. So
Okay.
chronologically, Thursday night football, I'm going to take Denver -2.5. It's just a good number as a favorite. They win by 3, they cover that spread. Over 37 again. Some of these lines have just been too low, in my opinion. I mean, we've seen New Orleans involved in a lot of higher scoring games. I think the over is hit in every single one of their games except for the Eagles game. And while Denver has a really good defense, I think they're able to put some points up on the Saints. So I think that 37 goes over a little bit. It feels like a 2023 type of game. Purdue +27.5 on Friday against Oregon at home. Oregon, obviously, highly emotional victory over Ohio State. Now they have to go on the road to Purdue on a short week. I think this is an easy cover. It's a lot of points there, although Purdue also coming off of a weird game in which they lost 50-49. Yikes. All right. Florida State, Duke, under 42. Both of these teams don't have much of an offense, so I like the under there. Army -15. I'm going to just keep rolling with them. They've covered in every single
Free
game this
spread.
year. So
Yeah.
it's just, I mean, obviously, eventually they won't cover, but I mean, this is very coverable. It's very workable. So we're just going to keep rolling with them. Arizona
Let's take
State.
a quick pause here, bro.
Yeah.
So Army, Notre Dame's got Army and Navy on the schedule this year,
Oh, I
bro.
know. I know.
Very concerning for me. Now they're both
Super concerning.
ranked. Like
Yeah.
those are normally like the gimme games, you know?
I know. I
And
know.
I'm quite concerned about us facing them. Like, could you imagine if we're like a lock for the playoffs and then we lost a game to Army or Navy to boot us out of the top 12?
Hey, trust me, it's very possible that they lose to at least one of them. And I could talk a long time about those matchups. In fact, I will be touching on the Navy one here. That's why I have Charlotte as one of my best bets to cover
Mm-hmm.
+17, because I think Navy looks ahead to next week against Notre Dame. I think that's like I mean, if not the biggest game on their schedule outside of Tulane and then the Army game later. So I think Charlotte +17 is a good bet this week. But yeah, I mean, going back to Notre Dame, they have to be pretty much perfect. There's only a
Yeah.
very, very few number of scenarios in which they could lose another game and still make it into the playoffs. If they were to lose to Navy or Army, they would have to hope that one of those teams that they lost to goes undefeated and makes the playoffs themselves. And then they have to hope that a bunch of teams in front of them also incur another loss or two,
Mm-hmm.
like a Tennessee, like a Alabama, like a Georgia, which just it's not very likely. I mean, there's already been a lot of carnage that's worked in Notre Dame's favor. So I just think winning out, that'll definitely get you into the playoffs. And I mean, we have to
Mm-hmm.
remember at the end of the day, these are a group of 5 teams that, they run the triple option. Modified, though, it's a lot more throwing, a lot more pass attempts than a usual triple option. I mean, both of these teams have looked really good, but I do think Notre Dame is able to get past at least one of them. I think it'll be Navy. I think that Army game's a lot tougher, especially with the USC game. just immediately after it. It's a tough stretch
Yeah.
of games for them. And so yeah, it's very worrisome as a Notre Dame fan. Don't get me wrong. If we didn't have that Northern Illinois loss, though, we definitely have some cushion. But it's actually good that they're ranked right now because
Hmm.
that just boosts Notre Dame's resume if they're able to get past them.
Right. Yeah, I agree. That will definitely be helpful to us.
All right, moving on. Arizona State +5. This line's moved a lot. I mean, they were originally only 2.5 point favorite or 2.5 point underdogs. Now they're 5 point favorites. Give me all of that. Now the money line's up to +175. Yes, please. Although now I'm starting to worry that there's something I don't know. I mean, that's just absolutely wild, but I'll roll with it. Virginia +21. I think, Clemson, another team that's covered a lot of spreads, but you're going to give me 3 touchdowns. I'm going to take Virginia. I think eventually Clemson does not cover, but they still win. I'm going to take Louisville +5. Miami here, another team that has had a lot of close games in which they've gotten very lucky to escape from. I think Louisville not only can keep it close, maybe even win. Would not be a bad idea to sprinkle some on the money line, but I'm just going to take them +5. UCLA Rutgers under 41 at -110. Just kind of another gross Big Ten game. Both teams are, bottom barrel. I mean, Rutgers is okay, but, losing like they did to Wisconsin just deflated my hopes for them. All right, South Carolina. Let's see if this line's moved at all. Nope, they're still, yeah, I must keep them at 2.5. They're actually only 1.5 point. I guess we have to adjust that. Fine. God, that's annoying. Just to be fair, they're only 1.5 point underdogs now. I'll still take them, and they're only now 105 on the money line. That's fine, though. I'll still take them against Oklahoma, who's not looked good. Oh my God, I love Georgia Tech +11.5. Give it to me, guys. Obviously, this is the Notre Dame game, neutral site in Atlanta, though, so it's not like it's out of state for Georgia Tech or anything. Just give it to me. I've already put money on them on the spread. I've already put money on the money line. Emotional hedge betting. It's a dangerous one. 11.5 is just way too much for a game like that. Although, hey, I mean, I thought Stanford would keep it close and they didn't. So, hey, maybe Notre Dame's
Yeah.
better than we think. Navy -17. No, I'm actually on to Charlotte +17. Like I said, I think they look ahead to the Notre Dame game. Bama, Tennessee under 57. I just think both teams are very different than usual. So that under hits. Illinois +3 at home against Michigan. That's a good bet. Another one would not be a bad idea to sprinkle some on the money line. Baylor, Texas Tech over 55.5. Both teams always involved in higher scoring games. I think this is a weird line. I really think it should be higher. But I think the USC Maryland game goes under 56.5. Again, it's Big Ten. Come on now. Arkansas money line +118 and the spread at +3. A little ladder action there. There's a lot of good underdogs at home, like Illinois, like Arkansas, South Carolina on the road, Arizona State on the road, some really good underdogs to take. We know at least a couple of those are going to hit. All right, Georgia +3.5 on the road to Texas. If you're going to give them to me at 2.5, I probably don't take them, but I'll take them at 3.5 there, just in case they lose by a field goal. Then on to the NFL. You got New England, Jacksonville over 42.5. I think London, they want points. They want to show everyone in Europe that this is a fun, high scoring game, unlike soccer. So I think that goes over. Rams -6.5. I think, again, if you're going to give me 7.5, I'll take the Raiders. I'll take 6.5, though, for the Rams. I'll take Giants +3. It's a good one to sprinkle on the money line as well. Tennessee, Buffalo over 41. It feels like a very low number. I think Buffalo comes out and puts up 24 points themselves. All Tennessee needs to do is put up like 15, 16 points, and then we're good. Detroit, Minnesota, I'm going to go under 49.5. That's a huge number for Minnesota, who has a great defense. I just don't think this game goes that high. Arizona +2.5, -110. I think they might win, as we talked about. Chargers, Arizona under 43.5. Chargers games always low scoring now with Jim Harbaugh. And then I have this law that I cannot violate in my head. If you can get the Chiefs in plus money on the money line, you always take that. Even though I'm going to take San Fran to win, this is like an emotional hedge of sorts, but I just cannot
Hmm.
not take the Chiefs when they're in plus money.
I know, dude. I saw that line and I was like, this is crazy behavior. I can't believe the 49ers are favored by 3. And so that's why that's also one of my best bets for the week. But yeah, thanks for sharing the slate here.
Yeah,
You're
sorry,
to
that
give
was
an
a lot.
update on I know, but to give an update on your total record, you're 64, 58, and 4. So you got a winning record here, positive ROI, which is pretty solid. And yeah,
We're up half a unit.
52.5% win rate.
It's not
Not
bad,
bad.
but we need to get that up a little bit more.
I mean, after this week, bro, it could very easily be at like 55% with your 28 bets here.
Jesus Christ, that's a lot.
I
It could
know,
be a
dude.
bad
That's
week. It could be really bad. Hopefully
Well, it could
not,
be a
though.
great week. Yeah, I
I hope
guess
so.
we will see, bro. We will see. Yeah, only a few bets for me. I already talked Kansas City money line, but Houston +3, bro. We already mentioned it seems very similar to that Ohio State Oregon game. Ohio State lost by just 1 point there, and I could definitely feel like it's feasible for Houston to lose this game by 1 point, or they could even just win it straight up. Like I think that taking Houston by just a
Yeah,
field goal here is a really solid bet to take.
I agree.
Uh, Next, we got Philadelphia -3 against the Giants. I kind of already touched on this, but just not as huge of a fan of the Giants. I know you're taking them to win this game, but I'm just not as confident in that as you are. So we're gonna take Philly with the points here.
I
Washington
understand.
-7 last week was a bit of an anomaly, I think. Lost to a tough team in Baltimore, but this week they've got a more favorable matchup. And hopefully, I'm not getting too biased by taking them on the spread 2 weeks in a row here. But yeah, I definitely like Washington to beat Carolina by more than just a touchdown.
Yeah, no, I think some good numbers there. Would not be a bad idea to bite that down to 6.5 again to protect
Yeah,
yourself. But
it's a good
yeah, some
point.
good bets all around. Hopefully, we can have a winning week.
Yes, sir. Fan mail?
Fan mail time. Yeah, oh yeah, we got some hotheads over here in a good way.
We do, bro. They both went nuts this week, kind of outperformed the Sorcerers a bit. Jimmy 13-1, very solid performance. The only game he missed was the Raiders. Yeah, if you guys listened to Jimmy's picks, you definitely made some coin last week, but to be fair, you would have made some coin from our picks as well. My dad wrote in, and although it was not ahead of when we recorded the podcast, it was still, I think, on Wednesday evening or maybe
Still pretty
Thursday morning
early.
or whatever. Yeah, 14-0 performance out of my
That's
dad.
absurdity. Just
I
absolutely
know.
absurd. I mean, he must know the script. I mean, him and Jimmy both, they must have been contriving.
I know, dude. It was crazy. That's the first time that any of us, through our fan mail or from either of us, have
Yeah.
ever gotten all of the picks right. So props to my dad on that one. Sorry we didn't have your picks in time to share with all the fans. But let's see if you can do it
Hey.
again this week. We've got your picks to share here. So you said Broncos, Jaguars, Lions, Bills, Colts. Falcons, Packers, Bengals, Eagles, Rams, Commanders, 49ers, Steelers, Ravens, Chargers.
Some interesting picks there for sure. I think that the Chargers, Bucks, yeah, Chargers, but Raiders. Whoa. Okay. I don't know, man. But we gotta trust it. I mean, after a 14-0 week, you gotta trust it.
Yeah, and he took the Lions over the Vikings as well, bro.
Yeah,
I
I don't
mean,
know.
I like the pick. It's just there are definitely some tough matchups to pick this week.
Yeah, definitely some tougher ones than last week. I don't expect, I mean, anyone to have nearly that kind of success. I think a lot of people, just not even like within our
Yeah.
little realm here, but outside of the sideline sorcery pact, had a
Hmm.
pretty good week predicting games.
For sure, yeah, and Jimbo also has his new picks to share here. Broncos, Jaguars, Vikings, Bills, Colts, Falcons, Texans, Bengals, Eagles, Raiders, Commanders, 49ers, Jets, Buccaneers, Chargers. Man, I am just the odd one out in taking the Chiefs here. All three of you
That's when you
took the
know the Chiefs are
Niners.
gonna win. That's when you know they're gonna win now.
Everyone's placing their coin on the Niners, it seems. But
Yeah, that worries me to be honest.
yeah, I know. But yeah, so for those listeners, you've got four different sorcerers right now to follow, all with some very, very hot weeks here. Um, so yeah, let us know if you won some coin off the picks.
Yeah, hopefully I can have another winning week in the bets just to be slightly profitable. A little 12 and 10. I could go, a little maybe 15-13 this week and be
15 and
happy.
13.
Yeah, that sounds right, honestly.
That could work. I think you're going to get like 18 wins this week, though. I think it's going to be a big week for you.
18-10, that would be
Yeah.
very nice. That would be
Yeah,
awesome.
dude. That's the play.
All right, well, we will see. Thank you guys as always for listening. We will be back next week for more sorcery, more wizardry.
Oh, yeah. Excited for it, bro. Enjoy the slate this week.
Yes, sir. Enjoy it, guys.